And I wanted to do a little review of the, we're going to call it the Varavon eBay cage. Looks a lot like the Varavon cage. Key differences seem to be that it's actually connected with screws here on the sides, and also that it does not have a Arca Swiss compatible quick release attached to the frame, which I'll talk about more in a minute. Camera goes in like this, because as you can see the battery door is right here, and that brings us to the first problem with this, the way they sent it. So they sent it this way with the handle set up like this. When the camera's in here, you can see that means that your eye is going to smack up against this, or your head is going to hit this when you try to look through the viewfinder, either way you go. Now the GH4 has a good viewfinder, so it doesn't make any sense to do it this way. It's actually a big problem to have this set up as it's set up. So that's the first thing that needs to be repaired. Thankfully there's a pretty simple solution here. All we got to do is loosen the key, the Allen bolt that holds this thing together, and flip it around. We'll even leave it in there so that it's easier to rethread, and just get that tightened in there. Now, to me it would be ideal if this would bring the excess of the handle back a little bit further so it's a little more balanced on its own. So this, I wish the hole was here. But at least you can see now my eye is not going to bump into it. Okay, that brings us to the second problem. So the second problem with the way this was set up initially was that this screw here that tightens this is hand tightened. Sorry about that. Hand tightened. And while that seems kind of nice to have a knurled knob that you don't need any tools to use, the problem is you can't get it tight enough. It's loose, and it gets looser and looser and looser and looser pretty easily. So there is no way to get it tight enough. Maybe if you have pincer fingers, fingers that are vice grips, you could do it. But so what I did is I took it and I had it machined, the screw machined out, and we have a little key in there now. Now with that tool I can get it tight enough, and it does not loosen. It is actually going to work there. I can wiggle it a little bit, much harder to do, and it does not come loosened on its own. That was another fairly simple fix, although you do have to get a machine shop to make that change for you. Use a key or a coin to make that, to loosen that or tighten that. Okay, there's another problem with the way it was set up. Thankfully also with a fairly simple fix. Okay, now let's get on to the next problem. So the next problem is that, well, it looks like it has a good solution for connecting to rails that have this kind of connector. This is the Ginny Riggs Apple base. Actually, let me first show you how this one works. This one tightens like this, and you can see once it's tightened, it doesn't move back and forth. Okay? This one fits the same slot. Everything looks good. It's a little bit, it doesn't have the same depth as this piece here, so you have to kind of adjust it to get it tight. And it's tight now, it's in there tight, but the problem is it slides back and forth. So what I'll probably have to do is get a file in here and machine this out a little bit so that it will actually push forward a little bit further. I think I can just do that. I was thinking I might have to build these up here, but that would be a much more complicated solution. So that's the other problem, and it seems to me like, just make it a little deeper, make your grooves a little bit deeper. I don't know if it's made to fit something else, some other device. It seems like this connector should be pretty universal. Either way, it didn't work for me, and that was a disappointment. Okay, so now let's go on to the next solution. Next problem, that is to say. So we're going to put this cage together the way it came from the factory, and kind of show you what the problem is here. So it goes in fairly easily. There's no anti-twist. The Varavon also has an anti-twist ability. So price tag's the big difference. So once it's in there, fits very nicely. Everything works well, and this is a pretty nice screw. Even it has a little tag on there that can help you to twist it, or it has a slot where you can stick a key in. Okay, there's room for the LCD panel. You have access to all your buttons. I even believe the access to these buttons up here is probably a little bit better because of this angle rather than the tighter one that's on the Varavon. I don't have the retention screw here, but there is a retention screw that goes right in there and holds that where it's supposed to be. So, everything about this is really nice from that point of view. Now let's show the problem. So now let's say you want to put your cage on a tripod or some other device. I have here an Arca Swiss plate. I like Arca Swiss. It's very small and light and unobtrusive, and I can get these little plates, quick releases for all my different devices, and get them put here and there in the other place pretty easily. So now that we've got this on here, you can see immediately what our problem is. First of all, it's off center, and secondly, I lose access to my battery door. I can't get my battery door open anymore. How lame is that? So it really is an unusable solution in this configuration. This is just not well put together at all. You probably could get an offset plate and do a bunch of monkey business to get it over. Maybe that's what they intend for you to do. I don't know, but it's not a good solution for me. Anyway, so this is a problem, the kind of problem that's going to cause everybody heartache from the first minute they decide to connect it to anything. So I really think that the manufacturer should really have solved this problem before they started selling these. So I came up with a solution. I thought about it a little bit and I realized, I really still would like, since I use Arca Swiss, the Varavon cage seems very appealing from that point of view, and I almost sprang for it, but it's $280 plus shipping, which is fairly prohibitive. So what I decided I wanted to do is I went to the machine shop again, and I said, make me something that's going to make this flush. I need to make this little area flush. I need a machine screw that's long, like this one. It'll go through the quick release plate and the cage and attach into the camera. And then I need some spacers. A spacer is really what I wanted. They didn't have a material that was the exact thickness that I needed, so they made me one out of aluminum, and then I made one out of brass for myself to sort of complete the picture, so that I could shim it up. It actually might even need one more thickness of brass in reality before it's all ready. But basically, we put these two in here, line the holes up, stick the quick release there to line up with those holes, take the screw, screw it through, let's see, helps to get that all lined up. There we go, it's coming through now. And then put the camera in. Line that all up. And let's see here. There we go. The machine shop that did the work for me typically works on farm machinery. So let's just say the fit and finish isn't, it's more practical than it is beautiful. Crank that down nice and tight. Twisting is a little bit of an issue, but once you do that, now you see I have a solution for not only putting the quick release for Arca Swiss on this camera, I could put a quick release for a tripod, for some other system of quick release. Anything that has a removable screw, I can take that screw out and stick it in there. And so now I have a much more useful cage. I've solved the major problems with it, other than its ability to connect to my rails over here with the Ginny Riggs Apple base plate. I will still have to work on that a little bit. Probably have to ruin the finish a little bit to do that. Already doing that in various places here, but I'll just tighten this up and you can kind of see how it looks. It's all put together. It comes with this little hot shoe mount here, which is nice. I think I can put my shotgun microphone there, or I could attach it up here. You get lots of different options, and I really like it. It's very compact. I can take this top handle off and shove it in the bag and leave the cage on the camera and really have kind of a rigged out solution in my bag with me. So that's pretty nice, and even in a compact small bag like a waist pack that I carry around with me. So that is that's what I did to the camera, and this is really first and foremost a message to the manufacturers who put this thing together. This is what I had to do to make it usable. If you could do this, it would be nicer, and I would pay more for it. I paid to have some parts machined and fix a couple of things, and it could be a really, really awesome solution. I hope you hear what I'm saying, and I hope you make the changes. Meanwhile, I've made this one work for me, and I'm really happy with it, and I wanted to share it with others and with you what I've done to do that. Thanks.